Today on our 2017 Toyota Prius V, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the EcoHitch Class 3 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver. So here's what our hitch is going to look like once we have it installed. Now you can see it's going to have a really nice clean appearance to it because the cross tube is going to be completely hidden behind the bumper and all we're going to see is the receiver tube opening. Now our EcoHitch is going to give us a 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening, which is going to have the most variety of options when it comes to accessories. The way we're going to mount any of those accessories is the hitch pin hole here on the side. Now the hitch is going to accept a standard 5/8 pin and clip. These aren't included in the kit, but you can pick them up here at etrailer.com along with some locking devices to make sure your accessories are secure. If you do plan on doing some towing, our safety chain connection point is going to be a plate style. You can see we have a nice wide oval opening, and you can see we'll have plenty of room to get most size hooks on or off. You always want to double check your Prius's owner's manual. Make sure you don't exceed the manufacturer's recommended weight. What you're really going to appreciate about the EcoHitch is that it does give you that 2-inch opening. Most of the hitches on our Prius are going to be an 1.25 inch opening, but since this one has the larger 2-inch, we are going to have a lot easier time finding bike racks, cargo carriers, or any other accessories to fit in here. Also, the finish on here, if you notice, it kind of has a crackle, textured finish to it, which is going to really help out when it comes to dirt and scratches and hide it really well, and it's going to protect it from any kind of rust or corrosion. And the name EcoHitch comes from the fact that our hitch is made out of recycled materials and that it is eco-friendly. I'd like to give a few measurements, and those are going to help you out when you're looking for accessories for your new hitch, like a ball mount, a bike rack, or even a cargo carrier. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost edge of the bumper, it's right about 3.5 inches. That's going to help you out when you're looking at folding accessories to make sure you have enough room and they're not going to come in contact with the rear bumper. From the ground to the inside top edge of the receiver tube opening, it's right about 14.5 inches. That measurement is going to help you out when you're looking for a ball mount so you can find the appropriate rise or drop and match it up to your trailer. Now at that height, I would also recommend a bike rack or a cargo carrier with a raised shank. That way we get a little bit more ground clearance out of it. But now that we've seen what the hitch looks like and gone over some of the features, let's show you how to get it installed. To start out, we're going to come to the back of our Prius and we're going to move to the outside on the driver's side, right on the frame rail. We'll find our factory tie-down hook here, and if we look up on the bottom of the frame, we're going to find 2 bolts that are holding it in place. We need to pull those out, so we can grab a 17mm socket and remove the 2 bolts. Now once you have the final bolt removed and we pull down the tie-down hook, we're going to want to hold on to this and just set it aside for now. Now if we move over to the passenger side where our exhaust is, and we follow the muffler going forward, right by the rear suspension, we'll find a muffler hanger. We're going to remove that rubber isolator so our exhaust can hang down a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit of spray lubricant, I'm going to spray down the hanger, make it a little bit easier to slide it off. I'm going to take a pry bar, and I'm just going to pry on that isolator until it slides off the hanger. We're going to have one more if we move towards the back. Another one right here. So again, just going to spray the hanger down, and then use a pry bar to slide it off. Now if we look straight up right at that isolator, it's going to have a bracket attached to it with 2 bolts. It's still going to use that 17mm socket, and we're going to pull that whole bracket out. Except this time we are going to hold on to the bracket and the rubber isolator. Now if we move to the center just a bit from where we removed our tie-down hook, we're going to find our fascia support with this push pin fastener. I'm going to grab a flathead screwdriver, we'll come into the notch, we're going to pop out the center section of our push pin first. That'll take all the tension off, and then we'll be able to pull the rest of the push pin out. And we're going to have one of these on each side, so we're going to want to pull out the other one. Now we removed our tie-down bracket and our exhaust hanger brackets. The 2 weld nuts in the frame are going to be our 2 mounting locations on each side. But I'd like to show you the hardware and the combination we're going to be using. So So in our kit, they are going to give us a new bolt. We're going to follow that up with a split lock washer. Then we'll put 2 flat washers over the bolt. And then you want to make sure you grab your tie-down hook. We're going to go through our tie-down hook, through the hitch, and then attach it to the frame, sandwiching everything in between. Now this is going to be the same combination of hardware, and we are going to sandwich our exhaust hanger bracket and the hitch as well on the other side. Now with an extra set of hands, we're going to lift our hitch up. You will need to pull out on the fascia so we can get that crossbar behind. We can grab our hardware, and we can grab each one of the brackets. You want to make sure you get at least 1 bolt in on each side so the hitch will support itself. You don't have to worry about it coming down. Then we can work on getting the rest of the hardware in place. So we have our hardware in place, but you want to make sure that it's all nice and loose still, and you can still move the hitch around a little bit. And if we look up, we're going to have our bumper beam support here that goes to the end of the frame. On the side, we're going to have a hole, and we want to grab a long 1/2-inch bolt out of our kit, and then we're going to have a plate washer. We'll slide that over, and we're going to push this so it goes all the way through the frame. And you just want to make sure that plate washer is sitting nice and flat against it. With the bolt coming through the frame, we're going to want to grab one of the wedge pieces here. We're going to slide it over the bolt. Make sure not to push it back in. And you want the thicker section to be up top and the thinner section to kind of taper down, just like I have it sitting there. Then we're going to grab one of the straps out of our kit. Now you'll notice that it is going to have kind of a taper or an angled cut at the top and bottom. The one on top you want to be towards the front of the car. So we'll lift it up. We're going to slide it over our bolt. You want to check that wedge piece, make sure it didn't spin on you. We'll get everything loosely in there. Then after the strap, we'll put on a flat washer, followed by a 1/2-inch lock washer. Then finally we're going to secure it down with a hex nut. Now again, you just want to do this really loose, just enough so you know it's started, but we want to leave everything so we have a little bit of adjustment to everything. Now since the strap and the hitch are both loose, you'll notice that the bottom part of the strap is going to have a hole. And if we look real close, there's a hole right here on the hitch. Now obviously they don't line up, but that's because everything's still really loose. We got plenty of movement, but we're going to want to grab the shorter 1/2-inch bolt from our kit, follow it up with a 1/2-inch flat washer, and we're going to be coming from the outside just like we did with the bolt up top. So it may take a little bit of work to get everything lined up, but that's another reason why we left everything loose. Once we do have the threads coming through, we'll grab another flat washer, slide it over the threads, grab a split lock washer, and then finally tighten it up with a hex nut. And this is going to be the same combination on the other side. We're going to use all the same hardware, straps, and that wedge block. I'm going to come back with a 19mm socket and snug up all my hardware. Now the M12 bolts, 19mm socket will work, as well as the 1/2-inch bolts, or you can use a 3/4-inch socket. Now for the bolts going through the straps on the side, you will need to hold the nut on the inside with a wrench. I'm going to come back with the torque wrench. I'm going to torque all my hardware down to the specified amount in the instructions. You just want to go back and make sure you repeat that for all your remaining hardware. We can lift our exhaust back up. Just going to spray a little more lubricant on there, make it a little bit easier to get into place. Now right where we took those push pins out of the fascia support, you'll notice that it can go back, but instead of using the push pins, we're going to take the 1/4-inch bolt from our kit. We'll slide a flat washer over it. We're going to go through the fascia and then through the support. And then on the top side, put another flat washer, and we'll secure it down with a nylon lock nut. Just going to get it started loosely by hand. I'm going to come back with a 7/16 socket and wrench and snug it up. And we'll repeat that on the other side as well. That'll finish up your look at the EcoHitch Class 3 Custom Fit Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2017 Prius V.